For as long as we've looked up at the stars, we've asked ourselves a fundamental question. Are we alone? The universe is just unbelievably vast and ancient, and it's filled with worlds that could, potentially, host life. So, why is it so quiet out there? Let's get right into this cosmic mystery. It really all boils down to this one simple, yet totally profound question. It was the physicist Enrico Fermi who first asked it, supposedly over lunch back in 1950. And honestly, it's a question that has been haunting scientists ever since. And that question gets us right to the heart of the Fermi paradox. See, on one hand, when you run the numbers, it seems like intelligent life should be pretty common out there. But on the other hand, when we point our telescopes to the sky, we hear nothing, just static. And that huge, gaping contradiction is what we're going to explore. So, how do we even begin to solve this paradox? Well, our first theory is maybe the most straightforward, and for a lot of people, the most unsettling one. What if the silence is, well, exactly what it sounds like? This idea is called the Hart-Tipler conjecture, and it's a bit of a mind-bender. It basically argues that the lack of evidence is the evidence. The logic is, if any intelligent civilization existed out there, we would have seen some sign of them by now, specifically signs of their exploration. And here's how that would work. Imagine an advanced civilization builds these incredible self-replicating probes. Think of them like technological viruses. They travel to a new star system, use the raw materials they find, asteroids, dust, to build perfect copies of themselves, and then those copies head off to the next stars. You'd get this unstoppable wave of exploration spreading across the galaxy. So how long would a full galactic takeover like that actually take? You'd be surprised. Even traveling at just a fraction of the speed of light, these probes could cover the entire Milky Way in about 650,000 years. I mean, on a cosmic scale, that's nothing. It's the blink of an eye. And that's the real kicker. Our galaxy is over 13 billion years old. There has been more than enough time for someone, somewhere, to have done this already. The fact that our solar system isn't crawling with alien probes means, according to this theory, that there's just no one out there to build them in the first place. We're it. We're alone. Okay, that is a pretty sobering thought, right? So let's completely flip the script and look at a theory that's way more optimistic. One that says the silence we're hearing isn't an absence, it's a choice. So this idea, and get this, it actually gains traction on a Kerbal Space Program forum, suggests the galaxy is full of peaceful, intelligent communities. And over the millennia, they've seen species like ours pop up before. Young, aggressive, constantly fighting amongst ourselves. They've learned that species with that warlike tendency usually just wipe themselves out. So they're just waiting. They're waiting for us to get our act together, to solve our own problems, and to prove we're not a threat to ourselves or anyone else. And only then, once we've finally matured as a species, we might get a message that says something like this. It's a really hopeful thought, isn't it? That the silence is just the universe giving us a little time to grow up. All right, we've had the lonely and the hopeful. Now, let's turn to the horrifying. What if the reason for the silence isn't because the universe is empty or because it's patient, but because it is absolutely terrified? This brings us to the dark forest theory, made famous by the sci-fi author Lou Cixin. The idea is that the universe isn't some friendly neighborhood just waiting to be explored. No, it's a dark forest, and it's filled with silent hunters. And what's the first rule in a dark forest? You never, ever give away your position. So in this scenario, the smartest, most advanced civilizations are the quietest ones. Sending out a message into the cosmos isn't a sign of being advanced. It's a fatal mistake. It's like shouting at the top of your lungs in a forest you know is full of predators. The silence we hear is the sound of everyone holding their breath. And this entire theory is built on two simple, kind of brutal axioms. First, the number one goal of any civilization is to survive. That's it. And second, civilizations need to grow, but the total amount of matter and energy in the universe is finite. It doesn't change. You can see how this sets up an inevitable universe-wide competition. This creates what's called a cosmic chain of suspicion. You can never truly know the intentions of another civilization you might encounter. Maybe they're friendly. But what if you're wrong? The risk of being wrong is total annihilation. So the only logical, safe move is to eliminate any other life you find before it has a chance to eliminate you. Chilling, right? Okay, so we've got three wildly different theories on the table. Let's shift gears from these big ideas and look at how scientists are actually trying to find a real, concrete answer to all this.
So scientists are on the hunt for what they call technosignatures. These aren't necessarily radio messages saying hello, but actual physical evidence of advanced technology. And the holy grail of technosignatures would be a Dyson sphere, a colossal megastructure that a civilization would build around its entire star to capture every last drop of its energy. If one existed, it would glow like crazy in infrared light.
And this is where things get really exciting. A recent search called Project Hephaistos sifted through data from 5 million stars, and it flagged 7 stars that showed a really weird excess of infrared heat, exactly the kind of signal you might expect from a Dyson sphere.
But Anne, this is just how science works. Before anyone could pop the champagne, another team of researchers came along with a different and, yeah, a more boring explanation. What if these signals aren't alien megastructures at all, but just distant galaxies hidden behind big clouds of hot space dust?
And as it turns out, that explanation seems to be a pretty good fit for at least 3 of the 7 candidates. But here's the thing, 4 of them are still totally unexplained. We're going to need much better, higher resolution surveys to know for sure, but for the moment, that smoking gun for alien megastructures is still just out of reach.
All right, let's try to pull all this together. We're staring out at a silent universe, and as we've seen, we have some incredible and incredibly different possible explanations for why that is. So which is it? Is the cosmos silent because we are truly completely alone, the first flicker of consciousness in an empty void? Is it silent because a wise galactic community is out there just patiently waiting for us to join them? Or is the silence a mask for a terrifying, predatory universe where everyone is hiding from everyone else? And that's the question we're ultimately left with. Is this great cosmic silence just an empty stage waiting for the show to start? Or is it the sound of a theater full of actors, all hiding behind the curtain, too afraid to make the first move? The silence could mean absolutely nothing, or it could mean everything. And you can be sure the search for an answer is far from over.